We're live.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome on this lovely Saturday morning, afternoon. I guess you could say afternoon for some of us. Thank you all for coming and welcome to our celebration. Today we will be celebrating KJ McChickay's newest novel, A Storybook Wedding. If we
Thank
were in person, there would be applause.
you.
And then we also have the lovely Anastasia Ryan here with us today as well to be KJ's in conversation partner. And Anastasia Ryan is actually has a newest novel out. Her newest novel is going to be Not Bad for a Girl.
Mhm.
Amazing. Yeah, right there in the background. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and get started if that's okay with both of you.
Yeah,
If we could start by just doing kind of a quick little elevator pitch, if you will, of each of your books. I think that would be good for anyone who hasn't read it yet.
sure. Do you want me to start or do you want Anastasia to start?
You can start, KJ.
Okay. I'm really bad at elevator pitches. So that's why I was like, you sure? Maybe someone else. No, it's fine. I can do it. So both of my books are about writers and, writers who are kind of struggling with their process for whatever reason. A Storybook Wedding, which is the newest one, is about a girl who defies her parents' expectations of becoming like a wife and a mom and like prioritizing that and instead goes back to school to get her MFA because she's really dying to become a writer. And she gets into a drunken karaoke moment with her professor, which goes viral and becomes the basis for their marriage of convenience, fake marriage type thing. So it's a lot of fun, lots of antics, and I don't know if that was good or not, but that is
That was amazing.
good. Go ahead.
Okay, is it my turn? Are you gonna do a book proposal too?
Do I have to? Okay, yeah, so I'll do that too. I have that other book too, the book proposal. It's a good book. It's the first book, debut novel, and that was a book about Gracie, who is a struggling romance author who can't find her happily ever after. And so she does, as we all would do naturally, emails her high school unrequited crush on a terrible bender night when she's out with her girls. And he surprisingly writes back, and chaos ensues. Hijinks and antics and chaos ensues, and it's a lot of fun. I don't know. I'm so bad at elevator pitches. I'm really so bad. Like I'm like, if I was in an elevator with someone, it would be the most awkward ride ever for them and me, all of us. Terrible.
No, I think you absolutely nailed it. I feel like I would stop and freeze. I would definitely freeze. I can't do pitches,
It's
but
really hard, but it's
that
fine.
was
You get good at it, so it's all right. Anastasia is going to give you something so polished now. Just watch.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Can I what's the language? Like, can I say like the
Oh,
B?
like bad words. Oh,
Yeah.
the B word. Yeah,
yeah.
you B
I
word.
I think that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, you're good.
This book, You Should Smile
Yes.
More, is about a woman who is fired for her resting bitch face. So she's in a job where she's underappreciated, and the job is soul sucking and is taking all of her um, everything she has from her, and then she ends up getting fired. And so she and her friends come up with a plan to get back at the company based on Sun Tzu's The Art of War. So it's about female friendships, ride or die friendships. It's about how today's corporate world takes but doesn't give back. And I wanted to start a conversation about how our our job situation these days doesn't define who we are as people like it might have in the past, and how we need to start to look to try and find meaning in our lives elsewhere than where we work. And the second one, Not Bad for a Girl, is sort of similar in theme. This is about a woman who is a coder. She's a female coder in a male dominated industry. And she is trying to get recognition for her work. And she doesn't get any until she's mistaken as male online by her supervisor because she has a gender neutral weird name, Indiana. So they assume she's like Indiana Jones and they start treating her differently. And she finally gets the recognition that she deserves. But how long can you keep that secret? And what awful other things will happen as a result of that? So it's about gender stereotypes, but also, like KJ said, hijinks ensue, and everything that could go wrong does.
Anastasia's books are hysterical. It's like watching The Office, but like in book form. They're
Thank
very
you.
funny. Very
I've
funny.
never watched an episode of The Office because I feel like it would
Oh,
like,
you must now.
well, I know, but like also I don't want it to influence me, you know what I mean? So I try to stay away from anything that might be similar.
Oh man, one day,
One
one
day.
day, like when it's like gross out, just like binge watch season 2. That's where it really starts to get good because
Okay.
season 1 was like not the best, but season 2, oof, and it just takes off from there.
Awesome.
I absolutely agree. Season 1 was not the greatest of The Office. Season 2 was amazing. But kind of in the same vein as that, and a great lead in is, do you, when you're writing a novel, do you kind of stray away from reading other novels that are very similar to what you're writing? Like, because I know I feel like I would just end up kind of copying the other novels. So is that hard to like kind of put yourself in like, I'm reading this, but like I'm not going to relate it at all to what I'm writing?
Yes, for me it is, I'll say. And I mean, not only can I not read other people's work, I can't like go back into my own work because I feel like, okay, did I do that already? Like, did they already, did I have other characters that did that same kind of thing? Like, first like sexual encounters, I'm like, wait, that was on the beach. No, I can't do the beach again because I did the beach in that book. I'm like, okay, I got to come up with a different thing. Like all of it just like bleeds together because you write what you know. At least I can speak for myself. I write what I know, and I'm like, oh, that would be so romantic, and then like I forgot that I wrote it into like a different book. So aging is hard because you lose your remembering of things. That was English, right? I'm good. I write things for a living. But yeah, aging is hard and reading other people's work, I'm like, I'm a plagiarist now. I'm going to steal all of these fabulous ideas. Like, sorry, Emily Henry. Like, no, of course I don't do that, but it would be, I think, since everything sort of blends together in my head, it would be real easy to do. So that's why I try and stay away from other people's stuff and my own.
No, I'm exactly the same way. I can't read at all when I'm writing because I know I will imitate because we're all mimics. I'll either accidentally take on a style or, an idea or something and not remember where it came from. So I just have to completely shut down books altogether when I'm writing or read completely out of my genre. So like I can read a fantasy if I'm writing contemporary. I can, vice versa, but otherwise you have to be so careful. It's accidental if it happens, and you definitely don't want it to happen.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree. But it's also a shame because I don't know about, I mean, I do know about you actually, Anastasia. I love to read. And so like reading is like one of the things that calms me and like makes me like way more even keeled and like nice as a human. And then it's just like, okay, well, I can't read because I'm busy doing, this writing instead. And it's really hard because I miss it. There's so many good books. Right now, there are so many good books out. And I'm like, oh, I want to read them all. And I'm like, I can't do that.
I know, me too.
So the stacks are just growing,
Yes.
stacks and stacks and stacks. Like my nightstand is just forget about it. Like you can't put anything there. It's bad.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way.
So when kind of, if you don't draw inspiration from like other books because you're not really reading during that time, where does your inspiration kind of come for your books? Is it like a dream and then you wake up and like that's the idea? Is it like from, people in your life? Where do you kind of draw your inspiration from?
That sounds really romantic, right? Like, is it like just wake up and you're like,
Just woke up.
oh, no, it just appeared in my brain in my peaceful sleep. No, it is all for me. It is not that. For me, these are thinly veiled stories of my real life. So, for example, I went back to school for my MFA, and that was like my whole midlife crisis that made me an author. It was a lot of fun. And there I was at the MFA program, and I felt like I was treated kind of similar to the main character in the book, whose name is Cecily. And I was like, how could we write about this whole experience, but like make it sexy? I was like, because an MFA program, in case you're wondering, really not sexy. Not sexy at all. So like, let's just take this and like draw on all this inspiration and like how I felt. It's so real to me because I experienced it. So I was like, it's easy to write that. And that's an experience that I had never had before. So it was authentic. The book proposal was an interesting story because when I wrote that, I was in my MFA program when I wrote that story. And I had written 3 books. That was the 4th one. So 4 books in 4 semesters, which is exactly what my character Cecily does in Storybook. 4 books in 4 semesters. I had tried desperately to get an agent. I went out querying for each book. I was like, this industry is brutal. Holy crap, this is so hard. And so then I wrote this like scathing comedy. The first 3 were like heavy women's fiction. The 4th one, the book proposal, was this like scathing comedy about the publishing industry. how is it that that's the one that got me the agent, the book deal, the whole nine? I was like, okay, great. This is where we're going to start then, I guess. All right. And like it was all, all the stuff that goes on that's like publishing centric in the book proposal, it largely comes from like twisted pieces of real life. But yeah, I don't know. That's just me. I'm sure Anastasia, you do a similar thing, right? Like I feel like it comes from
100%. So I may or may not have been fired for my resting bitch phase. And that may or may not have sparked this book, which I then allowed myself to say all the things that I wished I could have said in the time and allowed myself to have that moment. Because in real life, you don't get those satisfying revenge, happy, like feeling events. And I wanted to turn a negative experience in my life into a positive, something that I could laugh about. And so I wrote a book making fun of the whole thing. So now it's no longer like a shameful, sad experience that I had. It's the book that, got me published. And the second one came out of a request from the publisher to write about an office situation that would be relevant to the COVID world. So I thought about that for a while and I thought, well, one of the things we're doing now is we're all working from home. We don't meet our coworkers in person. If you keep your camera off, you kind of have an anonymity that you wouldn't have in other areas. And our perceptions of who we think people are can impact how we think that they perform in the workplace. And I just wanted to play with those ideas a little bit. So this one is not my personal life experience. I am not a coder. I tried really hard to fake it for this book, but the first one, yeah. I didn't do any of the weird things, but
I know.
But the impetus.
Isn't that crazy though? Like I feel like readers immediately, I don't know if this is true for you, but for me, some readers like immediately are like, oh, are you Gracie? Are you Cecily? Like, which one are you? Like, because obviously this came from you. And I'm like, okay, like yes, I'm both of them, but to a point. Like the crazy stuff, the extreme stuff is where you bring in the imagination. But like the baseline, like interiority, am I a hot mess? Yes, absolutely. I'm a full disaster. That's fine. But that's like all like on the inside. Am I like out there drunk? No, not really. I really don't drink much. Like, do I do those types of things? No, I have a husband, two kids. Like, I'm boring. So this is like, if I was fun, maybe this is what it would look like. You know what I mean?
Sorry, I have
My goodness.
lots of dogs.
This one has a whole farm in the house with the cute little cat and then all the dogs. You should write about that.
Way too many animals. Sorry.
No worries. I mean, I love animals. How many dogs do you have?
I have 2 dogs and 4 cats and like 8,000 fish. So yeah. Yeah.
We just adopted kittens.
Well, this first one has a lot of kittens in it.
Yes, it does.
Because she's fostering kittens at the time. And when her supervisor tells her that she has a dark soul, her response is, but I'm fostering kittens. Like, how can I be a bad person when I'm literally dealing with these awful little creatures that stink and need so much care? And that actually happened to me. And I did have foster cats that stank, and I was giving them all of my love. So that ended up becoming a big part of this book. And the kittens push the plot forward. They have a lot to do with how the book progresses. And I thought that was fun. I like cats, and they're a mess. And the second one has a lot of fish in it because I'm weird. I really like fish.
Not weird.
Yeah.
Do you guys kind of find it therapeutic or like closure writing characters that kind of mimic some of your life experiences? Like, is it harder or would you say easier to write a character that's in some aspects similar to you?
I love it. I need it. It's such therapy. Oh my gosh, it's the cheapest therapy out there, right? Like writing your own stuff. And it does provide closure in a very, very weird way. So these 2 books are funny, but like really, truly at my heart, like I write like heavy, heavy stuff. And so no one would know that. Everybody would think, no, this girl's a disaster. So she's out here writing disaster books. But my first 3 novels that are not published, but I think may one day be, were just me like going through all of my daddy issues and just like really truly working them out. And it created such a therapeutic amount of closure for me with that piece of my life that was really unresolved. Um, and now with every book I write, I bring something in that is from my real life. Like it could be like something very small, or it could be something that's a lot larger. For example, the book that I have coming out next June is called My Side of the Story. And there's a mother-daughter relationship in there that's really, really beautiful. And a lot of that came out of, you know, things that I've dealt with as a mother, but also things that I've dealt with as a daughter. And that created a really important closure for me during a time in my life when my mom was quite ill. So I do use writing for sure as therapy. I think that it's, like I said, cheapest form of therapy. So big fan. How about you, Anastasia?
Not as much for me. I want to write something really satisfying. I want to write something that like I said, that gives readers those feelings that we don't get in our daily lives. That intense romantic feeling, which is what you get from your stories, less so in mine. But that feeling of accomplishing something, of taking down the man, I'm trying really hard with my stories to push a very specific worldview that I feel it necessary to share. And one of those is the idea that we need to foster and embrace female friendships instead of looking at each other as competition. So that's at the heart of all of the books that I write, is those female friendships that we all wish we had, the ones where you have that person that would do anything for you, no questions asked, and there's zero competition. So, like, the men in the stories are important and the women are better for knowing them, but the real love story is between the women in the novel.
I love that.
Love that too. And kind of going off of that, what made you both kind of fall in love with the romance genre, and how was your journey into the world of romance?
Hmm. So for me, I just love a happily ever after, right? I mean, like we all do. And so I grew up on all the movies, all the classics, When Harry Met Sally, You've Got Mail, Sleepless in Seattle, anything with Meg Ryan, basically. And Pretty Woman, all of the Julia Roberts, The Proposal, all of the Sandra Bullocks, right? I mean, like all of those movies that were so lovely and that really depicted the idea that like you could find a perfect person. And real world's not really like that. I mean, I've been very fortunate and my husband is wonderful and we're very much in love, but life is boring, right? Like we have kids, we have finances, we have, schooling to deal with. We have like all the things, that make life day to day real boring. Um, and you love to get swept away in like that beginning stuff, like the beginning, like the butterflies and all of that. So if we can recapture it for me and for him, I will be honest, my husband is my alpha reader. People think that's kind of cool. I think it's cool too. It's really created a spark in our relationship that has not, was not otherwise there. We'll go on walks together. And so every time I finish a chapter, I make him read it. And he does like happily read it. And then he'll give me, his thoughts. And like, if there's any major edits that he's like, that would never happen. No guy would ever say that. No guy would ever do that or something like that. I'll tweak it. But then we'll daydream about my characters, like what should happen next. And like, we'll talk about them as if they're real people. And something about that has created like a level of deep emotional satisfaction at least for me. I don't know. This poor guy is like saddled with this writer who he's like stuck talking about fake people all the time. I don't know if he's happy or not. Time will tell, right? But I think he's happy. And it's like interesting to have something else to talk about outside of like kids and money. So I love the romance genre because I think that not only is it satisfying from you know what you're getting when you read a romance book. You pick up a romance book, you know what you're getting. You're getting a happily ever after or a happy for now in some way, shape, or form. And it's nice to have that reassurance. But then also it's been really good for me personally because, I mean, it's like creating like a little spark in my own life, which is really kind of nice.
I love that.
Mhm. Yeah, people like that.
And my books kind of straddle the line between romance and women's fiction. So there's a love interest, there's always a happy ending, but like I said, the romance is not the focus of the plot. Like the characters that I have written in these two books are complete on their own. They're not looking for a man to complete them. And as much as I love romance, because I do, and I love that I get swept up in that. I mean, I've watched Bridgerton like 800 times, like, but in my books, the woman is fine without the man at the end of the story. So he's kind of a secondary character. So I want to give the readers that romance that they like while also not making it the focus of the story. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to put those into a genre. They've been shoehorned into a couple of different genres, but they kind of straddle that. And I think it makes it hard for publishers to know exactly where to put them.
So kind of switching gears, let's go ahead and like deep dive into both of your writing styles. Does the plot come first or do the characters? Which one do you think of first usually?
For me, it's like characters and then just like a quick situation. Like almost like when you're pitching a book to an editor, or back in the day when I was querying, you'd have to do like that cross. Like, so if we cross this with that, we would have a book like this. Like, so
Right.
I do that in my head a lot. Like I just finished a book that is a cross between Dirty Dancing and Magic Mike set in Cape Cod.
Yes.
That's good, right? So
Can
if
I
I
know it now?
can you what?
Can I read it now?
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Okay.
So like if you were to do something like that in a one-liner with, you have a sense in your head of like who your character is going to be, at least for me. So that's how I start. What about you?
I start with a hook. So
Okay.
I start with an idea, like a woman who's fired for harassing bitch face, or someone who's looking for recognition and is mistaken for a guy and treated differently, like that kind of thing. And then the characters kind of grow out of that. So I want to get an idea that would make people interested. And then I flesh it out in a way that will keep the story moving forward. So the characters change for me as they go. And then one of the biggest parts of editing for me is going back and making sure that they're authentic all the way through.
Yeah, I hear that.
Plot, I think, but I don't know where I'm going with it. I just have the idea. And then who knows? I mean, what's going to happen next? And, you'll end up with a novel with several different versions where all sorts of things happened and then they didn't end up in the final draft.
So you're totally a pantser then.
Oh, yeah. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Love it. That's great. Yeah, I'm like a little bit of a cross between a plotter and a pantser. Like I'll come up with like a general idea of a plot without knowledge of what will be the like climactic moment that's gonna like shut the whole thing down. Like I've got like the first 50% of something in my head, like just the idea and like, oh, this is where it needs to go. But then I never know what awful thing is gonna happen to like create the, whether it's a third act breakup or like whatever it is, like that thing that's gonna like be like, oh, that's cool. And then so on our walks, I'll say something or he'll say something and I'll be like, oh, can you believe it? That's what it is. It's terrible. Oh my gosh, it's great. Like, and I'm like, we got to write it down immediately. My husband says he should be my co-author. I'm like, listen, real talk, your name is on this book and no one can pronounce it. So can we just like live right there? Like Mitchike is not my maiden name. Like that's you. So you're there already. But he really thinks I should like put his whole name on there. And I feel like that's kind of like stealing my thunder. I will not do it.
A little bit, yeah.
He can't write it all down. He can just come up with ideas.
That's an entirely different skill.
Right, exactly. I think so.
No, but I'll start with an idea and then I'll have like exactly how it's going to end, or like I'll have that last scene and the first scene. And then connecting the two is a nightmare. It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Wow. So it's a different type of skill.
Yeah.
We're all coming at it from different places.
I mean, I know that like by 50%, this has to have happened. By 75%, this has to have happened. Like I know the structure of a story, but really just that last image and that first image. And then I have to swim through the dark to get there.
And then like a sprinkling of animals. Like which animals are we using?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Trying not to like be like basic and use dogs, but like people love dogs.
Will there be axolotls in one of these new ones?
I don't like axolotls. They freak me out.
Steph has like 1,000,000 of them. So I feel like
she literally has 1,000,000 and I love her for that. But like, I don't want to meet them.
fair. I don't even really know what they are. So that's why I think it's fabulous, because I'm like, I don't know.
Sort of lost evolutionary chain link or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not okay with it.
You should write about possums. Those are gross. I'm sorry, Ariana. You look like you want to ask a
Oh,
question. We're just
oh
gonna
no,
fine.
no,
National
you're completely
Geographic
fine.
today, I guess.
I love possums.
I love I love the back and forth. Like I said, you guys can go on.
No
You
one
know what I
wants
would love to do? Crows.
crows. Oh my gosh,
Yes,
have you watched Schitt's Creek?
of course.
Okay, so that's where that takes me. It's
The
to
Bedday Crow.
crows with the Moira. I could totally picture like Myra. I love
No, but they're so smart and you can like make them super loyal to you, like without even trying. And like you can teach them to steal. There's all this crazy stuff that they can do. And I think like somebody ending up in a situation where they had crow friends would be I don't know. I think I could do something with it.
You're getting me nervous now because now I'm thinking of the woman from Home Alone 2 with all the pigeons in Central Park. Do you know who I'm talking about? Pigeon
She's
Lady?
super misunderstood and my favorite
Is that
character.
what it is? Is that do we have so I shouldn't be nervous. It's totally normal and I'm the weird one. That's
Okay,
not
no, I'm writing
like
I'm writing a romanticy right now.
I heard
It's super serious. Like everybody's really, really hot and nobody laughs.
okay. Are there crows?
No, so far there aren't
Not
animals.
yet. Not yet. Mm.
No,
Do
not
you think crows are sexy? I have to ask only because like the new thing with romanticy, like I don't know, but evidently like shifters are a thing. I could not write that. I don't know how to think anything is sexy except for like a human man. Like this is just like my own personal thing. But like it's like they're like it's part wolf. I'm like that's a dog. That's not like
okay. So like I'm in my alien romance era right now and I'm reading all the alien stuff and I'm embarrassed, but I love it. But I did read Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Did you? Okay, so he's a shifter and he shifts into a wolf and stuff and
you
like
say wolves. Is it hot?
okay, no. And I read that whole book with my dog, with my Rottweiler sitting in my lap. And like by the end of it, I was like, I really feel like you need to sit over there.
Okay, so like you weren't
Oh,
looking at
love
him differently,
you.
like, oh hey, like no, like right now.
No,
Like,
no,
this
no,
is what I'm saying. Like that's not natural for me. Like
no.
it,
The dog stuff was like really getting to me because there's the whole nodding thing.
what is that? I don't know what nodding is.
Can we talk
I
about
know
that?
what nodding is.
Yes,
He
yes.
knows. You
About
tell her,
it.
then, not me.
Oh my God, guys, tell me. Someone's got to tell me.
I feel like I'm not going to explain it the best. I feel like Anastasia, you should take this one.
Okay, so I worked in an animal shelter for a really long time. And one time I went to bring the dogs in from outside and two of them were stuck together and I was like freaking out. And so I was like trying to like call an emergency vet and they will never let me live this down because apparently that happens. They get stuck together and Bride really plays with that trope. It's a
That's
biological thing that makes them stick together. I'm sorry, KJ.
I'm like, I think I'm affected. Like, I don't know.
It's a huge debate because a lot of people thought it was super hot. And then there's people like us who have been around dogs and are like, I mean, the book is great. Like, I love that book. I love the characters. Like, it's super fun, but
It sounds very dangerous. It's not
it,
like, does like PETA get involved in this? Like this cruelty to animals thing? Like, should we be concerned? Is there someone
no,
we should?
because he's a dude and PETA doesn't really care about dudes.
Okay, fair. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, nodding. Got it. Learned something today. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my third book, you will not see anything about that because I do not think that if that does not squarely fall in the write what you know space, sadly.
Okay. But don't completely dismiss aliens.
Oh, I won't. Oh my gosh. So my husband has I want to see if I can do this right. He says he has a romanticy idea for me. Check this out. He's like aliens, but what if an illegal like immigrant, that alien meets an alien from outer space, fall in love. He's like, you call it aliens. I'm like, I don't think that that is my next move. I just think professionally that's not gonna elevate my brand. And he's like, but it could elevate the whole like husband wife team thing we're trying to do. I'm like, we're not trying to do that. I don't. You're the only one who's trying to do that. And if that's gonna be your debut, by all means, go for it. Maybe use a different name because I already took it. Like, I don't love that for us. I don't think that but he really wants me to try to write this like aliens. I'm like, no.
That's
If
really
you want it,
interesting.
you can have it. If
I'm
you want
good. I'm good.
have it. No, yeah, I didn't think so. Nobody wants that.
No, I think I'm good.
I'm like, plus, I don't want to talk about like immigration in my books. It's just not
Exactly. Like that's one of those topics. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
You
it's a
want
hot topic. I'm not trying to go there. We keep things really, really vanilla when it comes to like all that. Like we're not getting in any of that right now. But
No, I know. You definitely want to stay away from that stuff as much as you can. I mean,
Mhm.
I feel like I'm already beating people to death with my feminism. So I want to like kind of keep it, the other stuff on the DL.
I'm gonna tell him about nodding. Wait till you see what he comes up with then. I can only imagine. It's not gonna be good.
Okay, literally her dedication is like, I could not do this without you.
Is
I
it
know.
it's KNOTTING?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay, now we know. Well, thank you for this
You're
education.
late to this party, but
I'm late to every party.
I'm
I'm
glad that you're
elderly
here now.
dinosaur out here just roaming the earth when everyone else is extinct. I don't know what's happening. It's really bad.
Yeah, I feel like nodding is an acquired taste in books.
Ew, taste.
I don't know. I have dogs, so I'm not okay with it.
Okay. Well, here we are. I'm sure it's lovely. I'm sure it's lovely. Now I'll check out Pride. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Back. And then when I see you, Ariana, at Printers Row Lit Fest
Yeah.
in September, I'll let
Let
you
me
know
know. Yeah.
whether or not whether or not I gotta
Whether or
stop.
not
All
you
right.
liked it.
I think we need an Insta Live like reaction of you reading it. I would really like that.
Or perhaps a live reading of me reading out loud. And then my face, I have the word. So you think you have resting bitch face. I have judgment face, and my husband calls me out on it every time. He'll be like, KJ, what do you do? Shh, fix your face. Like, what is that? Like we'll walk past something or someone's wearing something. And like I'm not really that bad, but like, I don't know, if someone's doing something that I think is like ridiculous for like the public. Here's me, right? And there's some like stupid. And I'm like, I'm sorry. This is just what it looks like. I'm sorry.
I know it's hard. You're inside your body, so you don't know. Like if I am looking at you like I think you're stupid, like I don't know that I'm doing that. I don't mean to.
We would be real fun together. It's a good thing we live far.
Yeah.
So do you guys kind of have like a running list on your phone of like all ideas you ever want to write and then like you just kind of pick from that list? Or is it like that you don't do that at all? I'm just thinking of me with like Notes app and like everything I've ever wanted to write or anything, I just have listed in the Notes app.
I don't have I don't have a running list. I feel like first of all, I have 9 novels. You see 2 of them. So I've got 7 that are like in the drawer, right? I've written a lot of the things that I was like, oh, this would be cool. I think at one point I probably did have a running list. And then I wrote all of that. And now I'm like, not fresh out of ideas, but like if an idea strikes, I'm like, let me write this down and then let me work on this. Like, let me see if it has legs. I've probably, in addition to the 9 that I've finished, I probably have another like 3 or 4 that started and never went anywhere because like around 25 pages in, I can figure out whether or not it's good enough to like be a full novel. And so I think I start like there and I just try to see if there's enough juice from my own imagination that I can turn something that's just an idea into a novel. What about you? Do you do that? Do you have a running list of things? My gosh, dude.
Well, I take notes on the back of like unopened mail. So like I have like stacks of weird things around the house like that. But no, I mean not really. Mostly it's notes on whatever project I'm working on. Ideas are hard for me. So when I get one that I think actually I can do something with, then I push forward with it as best I can. And like you said, you don't know if it's going to have legs until I usually give it 50 pages or so before I know for sure if I can keep going with it. But I did have an exercise that my agent had me do, which was write like 10 pitches. So I had to do that like you did, like you said, where it's like this meets this, you know? And so I wrote a whole bunch of those and I look at them sometimes, but I only did that because I was told to, but it was a really good like exercise and maybe I'll end up coming back to some of them.
That's cool. Is that where your romantasy came from that you're
Yep.
working on?
Yep. It was like the 5th on the list and they were like, we like this one best. And I was like, awesome, because I already started it.
That's cool. Maybe I'll try that. I don't know. I'm just not good. Like, I don't feel like I have enough media knowledge. I haven't watched enough movies. Like, people will see things and they'll be like, haven't you seen this? And I'll be like, with what time? Like, full-time job, full-time writing, plus the kids and the husband. We want to keep him around because obviously this is all his work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to like juggle all 4 of those major things and the kittens and the cat that we have. Like, so it's a lot. I don't have time to like watch TV or movies often. And so that makes it very hard to do that cross thing with that while still being relevant. Like I could cross every 1990s love story out there, but that's not relevant anymore, right? They didn't even have like real internet back
Right.
then. Like,
Totally.
what world would they live in?
I know.
I should write historical. That's what it is. I
The
should write
90s.
historical, only 90s because I know that real well. So like just like put me right back into like 8th grade, right? Like I'm here we are, and like let me go wild. There was what I don't even think we did anything in like 1995. Like I don't know.
I don't know what we did either. I mean, we had wallet chains and we listened to a lot of the Cranberries.
The Cranberries. Oh, my first song. Okay, like my first real boyfriend, our song was Linger by the Cranberries. And then I listened to it at some point later in life and I was like, I don't really think this is a love song. I was like, I really don't know what's happening here. Like, I really feel like this is maybe a bad choice. I like,
But we didn't have the internet, so we couldn't Google lyrics. Like we didn't have any idea what anything was about.
no, no. And her voice does that cracky thing, like on
I
purpose.
don't like that.
I
I don't
know.
like that cracky thing.
No. But you know what I'm talking about, though, the cracky
Yeah,
thing.
I know.
She does it in Zombie.
Yeah. Don't like it.
I can't
So
do it. Go ahead, Ariane. I'm sorry. We'll just.
no, I love this. I'm like bouncing off of you guys. So speaking of music, is there a specific song that you would associate with each of your books? Like, can you pick one song and you're like, yes, that's definitely this couple? Yeah.
So in Storybook Wedding, the song is, okay, I'm gonna date myself. The song is Miss Independent by Neo, which came out in like 2008. It's a classic song. It's a great song. I will tell you, I love that song, but it was not the first choice. So there's the karaoke moment that happens. And here's like a little like insider stuff for like readers who are interested in writing. If you're gonna put the lyrics to a song in a book, you have to purchase rights to them. And that is not cheap. So I wanted to do what is it called? I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston for this karaoke moment. Because I could totally picture my character like just being like, singing it and like just fist in the air, like, like I could just see her being drunk and like doing that. And that was the song that came to my mind. But unfortunately, because Whitney Houston, legend, miss her work, is no longer with us, the rights to her music are co-owned by like her estate and then like a music publishing company. It was really, really, really hard to get in touch with like the powers that be to purchase rights to those lyrics. So I had to rewrite the whole thing using different lyrics. And I feel like lyrics are really important because it's a karaoke, right? Like you can't write a karaoke scene without lyrics. So I went through a rights guide and I was looking at like who is under, this publisher. And Neo was there and I love Neo. I think Neo is great. I think he's got such swag. He's like totally cool and timeless. And I was like, okay, so then what if his catalog works well for this character? And that's where I came up with Miss Independent. So then I got the rights to that song and it was a whole to do, but I'm very proud of that because I learned so much about the music publishing side of things. And I'm happy to pay for it because obviously like we're artists, right? So if like he gets like a little something from me using his lyrics in my book, like great, he should. He wrote a great song, he performed it beautifully. So I don't know. But yes, that would be that one. And then the book proposal, I don't know what song would I put with that. I gotta think about that. Come back to me for that. You've had a lot of time to think. Anastasia, do you have anything for your books?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, 100%. The Cranberries for both.
The Cranberries. Yeah, no. This one I think is The Man by Taylor Swift.
Okay.
Running as fast as I can. Would I have to if I were a man? Blah, blah. I can't get the lyrics right, but that's basically it. Now, in this one, there's an 80s prom scene where they have to go for work, which why would anyone ever do that? Totally had to do that. And because of the lyrics issue, they have like a face off where they just throw out titles of songs because titles aren't copyrighted. So every rose has its thorn, like poison and all that stuff gets tossed back and forth. But yeah, I didn't want to do all that stuff and go through all that because it is expensive and it is time consuming. So this one doesn't have a song specifically, but it does have a lot of things in it that are song related from the 80s specifically.
I love that. Okay, I thought of one. So for the book proposal, because you said Taylor Swift, I was like, oh yeah, for sure I could use Taylor Swift song. You Belong With Me, which is like, like her high school anthem, is great for the book proposal because that's Gracie goes back, it's in her mind to high school and how she was not cool at all, but the cool kid, was like off doing whatever with whomever, and she was kind of like from afar loving him. So that would work for that.
I've also had a lot of people say that this one is like 9 to 5, like an updated
Oh
version,
yeah, absolutely.
because the girls get together and take down the man, which is what Dolly Parton and her friends all do.
I love
Except
that.
have the sex swing. I don't go that far, but yeah, similar idea.
Yes.
Amazing. And then another fun question. If you could pick one book to be made into a movie, which book would it be? And fan cast the characters in that book. So what actors or actresses would you want to play your characters?
Okay, well, I mean, of the two books, I would probably pick Storybook just because I really love it, but I haven't fan cast it. I will say for the book proposal, I did fan cast that in my brain when I was
Okay.
writing it. It's so thinly veiled, it's terrible. So the book proposal has similar humor to Saturday Night Live, which is my favorite show. And so I got the name Colin for the leading man directly from Colin Jost, Weekend Update, who is Scarlett Johansson's husband. If you don't watch SNL, at least you can like have that frame of reference because nobody doesn't know Scarlett Johansson. He's like smart and funny and really smart. Like I like how smart he is.
Yeah.
And he's also kind of like he looks very no boring or vanilla, but like those are the words that come to mind, like just that he's like straight laced, like and Michael Che, who is his co-anchor on Weekend Update, always like cuts him down and like makes him laugh, and you realize that like underneath this like suit jacket wearing guy is like a really funny guy, like who's very normal. So I would cast him for sure. And then opposite him, I would probably go with like either Heidi Gardner or Cecily Strong, who are both great female cast members of Saturday Night Live from now and also in past seasons. And just the banter, like I have a scene in the book proposal that lots of readers hate, and I'm okay with it. And it reminds me of Bridesmaids, which is a Saturday Night Live inspired movie with like Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph and like some greats from Saturday Night Live. That's just my humor. I just think that like SNL is great, and so if I could get like SNL behind one of my books, that would be the dream. So like Lorne Michaels finding his people to like cast into one of these books, I think would be fun.
Totally. I agree with that.
What about you?
I think that Not Bad for a Girl would make a great movie, but I don't have a fan cast for it because I don't like have a good picture of what people look like in my head when I'm writing. I do very broad strokes when I describe them. But in You Should Smile More, my dream cast would be either Anna Kendrick or Aubrey Plaza for the main character.
Totally see both of them easily. Yes.
Because they are, oh my God, their resting bitch faces are perfection. And I just think that they would be incredible bringing that character to life.
Aubrey Plaza, like hands down,
I
has
freaking
that.
love her so much.
Anna Kendrick, I think, yes, she can do resting bitch face, but she's also so sweet. Like, I don't know. I always think of Pitch Perfect when I think of her. So like I just go into like the sweet, like cute, like, oh, she's adorable. She should totally be a rom-com heroine, like without a doubt. But
Yeah.
but
But she
Aubrey,
also has that rebellious side to her, which I love.
yeah, but Aubrey Plaza is that I don't know. I think that's
Perfect, right? Perfect.
Have you reached out to her?
I mean, I maybe DM'd her, but I don't really think she's checking like my messages.
Have your people call her people?
Yeah,
I have a famous person. I have a famous person thing in Storybook. Do you know about this? The famous person thing that I have going on Storybook? Okay.
no.
So in Storybook, I have Questlove. Do you know who Questlove is?
Yes.
Okay, so he's like one of the head of the Roots crew in Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show. But that's not where he started. He's actually a musician from way long before that. And I used to listen to the Roots way before they were on Jimmy Fallon. Well, anyway, I was like, how could we like ramp up this karaoke scene to like make it absolutely batshit crazy, right? And so I said, we need like a cameo from someone famous who's gonna make Cecily like lose her mind on stage so that she like performs the heck out of this song. And I was thinking like, who could do this? And so Questlove does this bit. It's not just him, obviously, it's Jimmy Fallon on the Tonight Show with Ed Sheeran. He's done it since then a couple of times, but it's nursery school instruments or classroom instruments, I think they call it. And so they did, the first time I ever saw it, they did Shape of You by Ed Sheeran using only like baby nursery school instruments. So like the little like xylophone, ding, 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 like that. And Quest is on a kazoo. And I was like, oh, 1,000%. We're going to put him on a kazoo and the drums to back up Cecily in this karaoke moment. So I wrote this whole scene, this whole thing with Questlove. And then I was like, he's an actual live person. Permission for this. So no joke. I had my people call his people. And the first of all, can we just talk about the fact that I have like people who can call
How do you have people? Where do I get
my
people?
agent. I was like, my agent needs to call his agent because Quest is also doing a crap ton in publishing right now. Like a lot of like he had a #1 New York Times bestselling YA book that my daughter read. We loved it. And he just started his own publishing house not long ago. So like his literary agent is like a very important part of his career. And so to have my literary agent, like I have one, he has one, like let's get them together. Maybe they know each other and ask his permission. So he had to read through the scenes and he like gave his permission. I was like, oh my God, I love Questlove. I love him so much. And like now I feel like we're besties. We've not met. I do not have his number.
You are besties.
We're not besties, but I sent him the book. I want him to, bring it to work. Just like bring it to work. It's the same. I think it's 30 Rock where they film it. So like it's the same bill. Like drop it off at SNL, please. Like,
of yourself just reading it and posting them places. That would be great.
He should read it.
He should read it.
Yes, 100%. It's gonna happen, guys. Questlove and me we're gonna go out to coffee soon.
Okay, because he's friends with Lin-Manuel Miranda, and he's the person I want to meet more than anyone else in this entire world.
Okay. So if it happens, would you like
I'm
to
coming with you? Because I don't have people, so I'm going to ride your people.
You have people, but I'm your people. So then there we go. You'll come with me. We'll go hang with Quest. It's all good. He's very chill, very chill. He's such a normal guy, right? And he'll be like, yeah, sure, guys, let's go to Lynn's house.
And we're super chill, so that'll work great.
We're real chill. I am the definition of chill.
Me too.
The anxiety runs so high, I think, between the two of us. We are like a really solid ad for Zoloft, maybe, or like Klonopin, perhaps. I'm not really sure.
Klonopin, probably, yeah.
Panic attack medicine, right? Yeah,
yeah.
This could be a commercial. Ariana, you should send this to the Klonopin people. Let them know, like, don't worry, KJ and Anastasia have you covered if you would like. Most people, side gig, right? Perhaps a side hustle. It's gonna be good. This is the energy we bring. Next question.
I'm loving the energy you both bring. You guys are cracking me up. So how do you kind of come up with book character names? Are they based off of celebrities always? Are they based off of people in real life, maybe? Or
so for names, I'm real basic and I go on like baby naming websites because I know a lot of people and I'm like, we need like, well, except for Colin Jost, right? I don't know him and he was not from a baby naming website. I was like, Colin, I want you to be my leading man. So we're just never writing about you. This thing like manifest. No, it hasn't happened yet. But yeah, I like baby naming websites. Those are helpful. I don't know. I have a whole thing about names in my head. Like I hate names. I think names are really hard. And like your name like defines who you are. So I don't know. I want to like capture the essence of a human in like a name. It's really a hard thing to do. Anastasia, what about you? You have good names. I feel like your names of your characters are interesting. Like Indiana, that's freaking cool.
Okay, well, top secret that my dog's name is Indiana Jones. So my first.
I see where this is going.
What?
I can see what's happening now.
Oh, stop. Ew. So my first few pages of Not Bad for a Girl, her name was Alex because I thought that was a good, gender neutral name. But then I was, calling for Indiana in the yard and stuff. And I started thinking about that. And I was like, if I used a name like that has so much already sewn into it of male stereotypes and what it means to be masculine. And I'm playing with the idea of what it means to be feminine versus masculine and how that alters how people perceive you. And if they think that you are a super manly man architect who can fly your own plane, then like they're going to start looking at you as someone who can solve all their problems, right? So I thought if I named her that and she goes by Anna, that it would work well. And so my pets' names show up quite a bit in my books.
I love it.
I know that sounds so stupid, but like,
oh, I'm just thinking of how that would manifest in my books. So here's a fun fact. So I have a cat. Her government name when we got her from the shelter was Candy Corn. Fine. So I was like, cool. We're going to call her Cece because that's short for candy corn. Cece makes sense. Great. Of course, Tell me how that name morphed into, I kid you not, and this is how we say it. I'll be chasing around the house, be like, Hati Mama, come, Hati Mama. Don't know. So something tells me that like I could not bring cat names into my books unless you want the leading woman to be called Hati Mama. Oh, it's bad. I'm crying now. Sorry. That's very emotional. She's really not liking the kittens, you guys. I don't know what to do. She does not like the kittens. She was growling this morning at the kittens.
How long have they been there now?
Um, since May 18th. No, May 20th. My
It's
girls,
so
my
early.
daughters, I know it's very new, but they're not like out together. Like I let them do the sniff through the door thing for a while because you're supposed to do that. But now I'm trying to acclimate them because we all leave. We go to Cape Cod for the summer and our house there's teeny tiny. So like everyone needs to be okay being in the same space. So it's gonna be the four of us and three cats in a one-bedroom apartment. This was a bad plan. But my girls, my daughters were like, oh, we found these cats and we need to get them. And I was just like, all right, cool, whatever. Like I was away on book tour. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not even there. Like, talk to your father. Like, what is happening? The parenting is not going well, nor is the cat situation. And now Ati Mama is growling at people and growling at kittens. And it's so bad. I don't know, it's a disaster in my house. That's why I had to do this here in my office where it's safe, where there's no growling, there's no hissing. Cats are not spitting here. There's a fish. I have a fish. But other than that, just the
Love
one
that.
fish. Yeah. Safe here, safe space.
Yeah. They may never get along, and that's okay, so long as they're not actively at war.
It's not okay. I'd be so sad. I want her to love them like a mommy. She's 3 years old. They're like little babies. Like love them.
You can't force that though.
I'm forcing it. It's gonna happen.
Good luck with that.
I may call you separately and just be like, can you please talk me off this ledge? Things are bad in my home.
Yeah, no, I get it. I have animals that don't get along too.
Do you have other characters named after your animals?
Yes.
Ooh.
Well, in Not Bad for a Girl, the big twist, which I'm not going to reveal because, oh my goodness, the main character is SJ, which is my cat's name, Sephora Jane. And Sephora Jane also kind of shows up in this one. And I have a cat that I bottle fed, and so she should be grateful, who lives in the basement and doesn't come out. So we call her the Loch Ness Monster.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
The main character in this one is Vanessa, and she goes by Nessa or Nessie, Loch Ness Monster. So
Do you want Hati Mama for a future?
I do. I'm stealing it. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
It doesn't work with my brand.
That's the lead in my romantasy.
There. Oh no, it's a cat shifter.
No, I can't do shifters.
No, no, me neither.
I mean, more power to you if you can. Like, that's great. That's a huge industry, but I can't.
I'm not your girl for that.
No. Aliens.
I'm sorry. So very, very random question.
Sure.
But which character in any of your books do you think would get along with your pets the best?
I could see Cecily being good with a cat. Cecily has a fish in, well, okay, so Gracie has a cat in the book proposal. Her cat's name is Dorian Gray. And
Nice.
yeah, that's her cat. And he's just kind of like judgy, you know, like cats are. Grown cat, he's judgy. Like she's trying to get ready for a date, and he's just like having resting bitch face over her outfit that she chooses, which is a hot disaster. So Gracie would probably get along really well with my pets. But Cecily also, she's a children's librarian. That's like her actual job, and she's got like a fish. She's just sweet. She's sweet. In fact, Cecily is based on like where I was at in my life when I was living in Little Neck, Queens. And so the apartment that I described there is actually my apartment from that time in my life. And back then I was fostering kittens too. So like I could picture her being like really into fostering kittens, but I think it may just be because of the house that I was living in at the time. What about you?
Definitely Carter from You Should Smile More, the love interest. He is fully tattooed, and he has a cat tattoo, and he loves cats, and all cats love him because I think that's super hot.
Mm-hmm.
Dark hair, blue eyes, you know, tall,
Yeah, obviously.
loves
Yeah.
cats. So
Yeah.
he's able to rally the kittens when the main character can't. So all things I think are super hot.
I love that. I think that's fun.
And then coming up on our last question, is there any genre that you're not going to write, you haven't written, but you would just love to? Like, have any of you thought about writing like a thriller or anything like that?
Any genre that I haven't written, not going to write, but that I would love to. Mm, Probably memoir.
Oh,
And the reason why,
interesting.
I love memoir. I think memoir is so interesting and fascinating. And the way that people put together their own stories is just often very brilliant. Colin Jost wrote a memoir, in case you're wondering. It's called A Very Punchable Face.
Which he
And
has.
which is it's fair. And he is very funny in that memoir. You know, it's his voice for sure. But the way he tells the stories and the stories that he chooses to create this like tapestry of like, who am I? The reason I won't do it is because, at least I don't think I'll do it, is because so many of my stories are already in these books. Like they're already in the fiction that I write because my fiction is just, I actually use this as a line in my third book that's coming out next year. I say fiction is just the truth hiding in plain sight. And for me, that is true. So I won't write memoir because I already have it all in these books. What about you?
Oh, well, I've thought about thrillers, but thrillers I think are difficult because the pressure to have more and more twists and to have the twists be more and more outrageous as the plot goes. We get some weird stuff now in our thrillers because people are always trying to push the envelope. And I think that kind of pressure would be a bit much.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, like I enjoy reading them and I think it would be fun to and I've plotted a few, here and there, but that whole idea that no, it turns out I don't want to spoil anything, but like the orphan's 30 or whatever, like those kinds of things are hard to pull off.
Yeah,
I'm not sure I feel like I could do it.
agreed.
Okay, actually, this is the final question. I completely lied. Um, recommend one book that has been out for, let's say, the past 2 years or so. Anything that's come out in the past 2 years that you would love for readers to give a chance to.
Wait, like our books or like other people's books?
Other people's books, yeah, any book that's been out.
Any book that's been out for 2 years that I would love people to give a chance. The Unplanned Life of Josie Hill by Stephanie King. I love that book. It's a beautiful book. Um, it's a friendship story, and I think that Steph is a great writer. So that would be my choice.
And mine would be Welcome to the Neighborhood by Lisa Rowe.
Mhm.
That was the book that I read at a time in my life when I didn't know I needed it as badly as I did. And I thought it was breathtaking and beautiful. And I don't think it gets enough hype.
Same. I love that book too. Great mother-daughter story. So
Yes.
neither of these are like heavy, heavy romance, but both really excellent work by
Yeah,
fabulous.
definitely checking out.
Mhm.
Great. Okay. Thank you both. We're coming up on time here. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. That was such a lovely conversation. You guys are hilarious, I have to say. And thank you everyone who came on this Saturday afternoon to watch. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Saturday. And thank you so much for KJ and Anastasia for doing this event with us.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.